The 2015 Blancpain GT Series got underway, hit the road in Nogaro, southwest France on Easter weekend. 9 different manufacturers coming to the circuit Paul Armagnac to see who will come out on top. Nogaro, southwest France. But with a bull ring, what better place to bring the cars, the gladiatorial machines that will fight out the honours this year, 2015, the Blancpain GT Series. Now, let's introduce the runners and riders for 2015, starting with BMW Sports Trophy Team Brazil, the 77 BMW Z4 shared by Maxime Martin and Dirk Muller. 77 and 0 out racing for the team in the national colours of Brazil, yellow, green and blue, and how fitting it is that the Brazilian duo that share the sister car, number 0, Rodrigo Sparaffico, and his identical twin brother, Ricardo.
We feel very comfortable and the team like our job, know what we did. So we are happy, me and my brother, to make part of this team, our Brazilian team, the mechanics and everything. And we like the championship, so it's good to be back.
Last year's champions, Belgian Audi Club Team WRT, back with 4 cars. Christopher Mies sharing number 2 with Enzo Eid. And a new face in the number 1 R8 is Robin Friens, Caterham Formula 1 reserve driver, and he's come in board this year to join Laurens Vanthoor.
So yeah, we're back again for another year, and I really hope we can confirm those titles and continue by raising our game and showing that we are still on top of our game, and hopefully we can be strong and fight for the championship. That's the main thing. In the end, it's a lot of things have to fit together to be able to win a championship. So I hope that's the goal anyway. Why we're here.
The number 3 entry from Team WRT is all Monegasque, with a hugely experienced Le Mans winner Stéphane Ortelli being joined by Stéphane Richelmy, another driver across from single-seaters. And the 4th car in the team shared by James Nash, with hugely experienced German Frank Stippler. With 8 top drivers sharing their 4 cars, you feel there's going to be plenty of inter-team rivalry at Team WRT in 2015. Team WRT not the only Audi team, because Phoenix Racing brought along their car for Nicky Melnov, and ultra experienced and very feisty racer Marcus Winkelhock in the number 6 entry. Reiter Engineering return in 2015 with one of the Lamborghini Gallardo LP 560s for Dutch racer Nick Katzberg, and for German aristocrat Albert von Thurn and Taxis tried to take the battle to the Audis and the BMWs.
Lamborghini's going really well. We've got a couple of issues with the grip level, got some pickup problems at the moment, but I'm quite confident that we'll have that figured out till tomorrow.
Attempto Racing are joining the Blancpain Sprint Series with 2 of the new McLaren 650Ss for Yoshiharu Nori and Philippe Vlasic, who'll be running in the Pro-Am Cup, and then the hugely experienced McLaren favoured duo of Rob Bell, who'll be sharing the car with Kevin Estre.
I think the McLaren is going pretty well. McLaren seems to like this track. It was every time fast, so we'll see now with the 650, but I think we have a good chance. We have a great team and a good driver lineup, so let's see, but I think I'm pretty confident.
There's more chassis variety, with the GT Russian team bringing a pair of the Mercedes SLS AMGs for Alexei Vasiliev, who'll be sharing with former Le Mans winner Christophe Bouchou in the number 71 SLS AMG. The sister car will be driven by Russian racer Alexei Karachev, and his co-driver is none other than Mercedes GT Racing superstar Bernd Schneider.
I think will be a tough weekend for us. The circuit doesn't suit very good to the SLS, but we will give our best and we're pushing hard. Hopefully we find the right setup. So far we are a bit struggling with that as well, and then we will see how the race will go.
MRS GT Racing are bringing one of the mighty GTR Nismos to the show for Craig Dolby, a convert from single-seater racing, and he'll be sharing this year with Sean Walkinshaw, son of Tom.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing weekend. You know, we've haven't done very much testing, but all the testing that we've done so far has been really, really good. We've made good progress every time we've been out in the car, and so far after first practice, it's going quite well, and it should be a positive weekend.
ISR Racing bring a pair of R8s this year for the Fjordbach brothers, Thomas and Anders, in car number 74. The sister car, number 75, will be driven this year by the pairing of Philippe Salacada and Marco Bononomi. Seem to have good chemistry already. So here's another strong lineup who can perhaps take the battle to Team WRT in the battle to be top for Audi. There's been a big change at HTP Motorsport for this year, and they've changed from running Mercedes to Bentley Continentals with a young lineup of Olivier Lombard and Jules Simkowiak in one of their cars, and the sister car driven by young French racer Vincent Abril, who is paired with German star Maxi Buch, so strong in a Mercedes last year.
I think this year should be quite fine for us because we have a good base, we have a good balance in the car. We were testing quite a lot, so we have a good experience with the car, and I think it should be an interesting season. I think we can compete with all of the other cars on every track, so it should be fine.
The lone Ferrari in the Sprint Series this year is entered by Rinaldi Racing, with Marco Seifried bringing great experience along with teammate Norbert Siedler in the green 333.
It's nice to be part of the championship, and together with Ferrari, Rinaldi Racing and Marco, I think we can do a good job for all the season, and I think at the end we are in the top 3 of the championship.
It's good to see Porsche here this year with Fach Autotech, with Porsche approved driver Martin Ragginger, no stranger to the 911, who's sharing this year with Marcel Wagner.
We decided to attend with the Porsche in the GT Series and hope we are able to win the Pro-Am category. And yeah, let's see. We will do our best.
So the sun is shining at the circuit Paul Armagnac for the opening round here at Nogaro of the 2015 Blancpain Sprint Series. Looking great, John.
Yes, I have to say, Easter Sunday here in Nogaro is a beautiful day. As we see the tail of the grid, this is exit of turn 14. And as usual, Easter Sunday here, the crowds are piling in.
Crowd piling in, the wind is blowing in their faces if they're looking down from on top of the grandstand above the pitch. You can see the flags from the front shot. It's a busy, windy day, but I think we're in for a cracker of a qualifying race.
Well, I think we've got a very interesting grid because, well, unsurprisingly, let's say that we've got an Audi in pole position, but not necessarily the Audi we anticipated. That's a little bit of a story for later on. But the car driver pairing, I think, is going to be the one that's got to be really the car to watch throughout the races. Maxime Martin and Dirk Maurer in the BMW Sports Trophy Team Brazil car on the front row, alongside only hundreds of seconds between first and second on the grid.
Yeah, we came into this meeting expecting that Audi would continue its very strong form with the Belgian Audi Club Team WRT. You did tip, John, bless you, the BMW Sports Trophy Brazil entry. You did pick Maxime Martin and Dirk Muller, but their sister car, number 0, has been put to the back of the grid. It qualified 13th in time qualifying this morning. That's been moved to the back, but that could add to the excitement of the racing. But tell us why one of the cars is missing, number 1.
Well, the car that really everybody expected to be on pole, probably win the race, Laurens van Thor and Robin Freens, number 1 Audi WRT. In this morning's warm-up, Robin Freens came out of turn 14. The back end of the car got away. He had a long looping spin, and he sort of tank slapped the barriers which led to the left front suspension mounting point on the chassis being punctured. That chassis is now never going to be used again. What is sad about all this is the chassis that had this accident this morning was the very same chassis that won Spa 24 hours last year, and the team are heartbroken about it. But it's on its way back to Belgium. It'll be back there on Tuesday, and they'll be at Monza next weekend.
Well, just looking down the grid, there's the second row, a Bentley and an Audi. Third row, we've got Craig Dolby, Sean Walkinshaw, Marcus Finkelhock and Nicky Meyer-Manhoff. Then more Audis, plenty of Audis in the field. Eden Mies, and then Simkowiak, young Simkowiak from F3 in the second Bentley. Porsches with Raginger and Wagner. Nicky Katzberg bringing up the end of the top 10 in the Lamborghini. So 9 different makes of car here this weekend.
Yes, I mean, the one difference we've seen over the weekend is today, right now, as we're just coming up to 2:10 in the afternoon, it is much warmer, albeit with a breeze blowing, but the sun's out in the sky. We've got a blue sky, track temperature going to rise. That's going to help a lot of drivers who struggled this morning in that warm-up when it was much, much colder.
On top of which, the warm-up, the qualifying, time qualifying this morning was interrupted by the accident. So it's stop-start for a lot of the drivers. This is their chance to get a longer run and really see what they can do. But looking at the front, we've got Stefan Ortelli starting on pole position in the number 3 Audi and the number 77 BMW alongside with Dirk Muller taking the start.
Yeah, on the second row of the grid, we've got Maximilian Buch in the Bentley on a track which they thought may not necessarily play to the car's strengths. But one thing is clear, that Bentley have got a lot of straight line performance, and off this rolling start into turns 1, 2, 3, 4, I can't expect too much to happen, but certainly out of turn 6 onto the back straight, watch that Bentley. It's got the horsepower to just drive past the 2 front row position sitters.
But one other car in the pack that could be surprised is behind the Bentley, and it's the Nissan with Craig Dolby on board to take the start. Now here we go through the final sequence of corners. Turn 13 turns to turn 14. There is a start-finish straight for the opening race of the season. The red lights are on the gantry. Who's going to lead down into turn 1? The dust is kicked up, and the Audi takes the lead from pole position. Very tight in behind, but it looks as though the BMW will stay in second position, challenged around the outside by the second of the Audis of Frank Stippler. But a spin there for a lot of contact down at turn 1 into turn 2. Up the Bentley 84 that started with Maxi Boot from third position had a look to go in second place. The sister car for Jules Simkowiak is parked, beached in the gravel. I expect we'll see the safety car coming out. The driver who didn't get it wrong at the start was Stefan Ortelli. He took the lead, wasn't quite challenged by those behind who were fighting, and we had 5 or 6 cars going round. 77 in second place with Dirk Muller on the back straight, and then it should be number 4 Frank Stippler chasing down in third, down to the end of the back straight, and we have more spinners. That's the Phoenix Audi, so absolutely action-packed. That was down in the first couple of corners, so that's just recovering. But what you do need to know is Stefan Ortelli is leading for Audi, Dirk Muller chasing hard for BMW.
Yes, and it should have been Buch, but Buch was turned around in turn 2, and that then took out the sister car. So really both Bentleys out in the first 300 metres of this race. Great disappointment for what we'd anticipated to be a great race in the front of the field. Still a great race going on here in the opening lap, with Frank Stippler trying to chase down Dirk Muller in the second place BMW.
Well, the driver making the charge at the moment is Frank Stippler in the... a lot of bodywork damage for the lead McLaren. Not as it should be. That's the number 55 entry driven by Kevin Estra. But the leader of the race is still Stefan Ortelli as he goes onto the second lap, chased by Dirk Muller. And Frank Stippler very close behind in third place. They've already made a break, 3 seconds clear of the rest. And one of the Mercedes, that's the GT Russian time. It's not the yellow car, which you can see on the screen. It's the 71, which was started by Christophe Bouchou. So French home luck not coming his way, limps into the pits.
Well, we've got a yellow flag around turns 1, 2, 3 and 4. And is this... obviously you can't overtake under the yellow flag, and that's not really ideally to do. That's on board with the McLaren. That's Kevin Estra trying to make a move. Strange place to do it, because we've got a yellow flag pretty much all around the racetrack.
And that's the battle for fourth place. As you can see, they're already a long way behind the first trio, chasing after Frank Stippler. But the first three looking good, and certainly looking awful, but going very effectively, is Kevin Estra. Still 57 minutes to go in this race, but they're fighting cat and dog.
Nissan in as well now.
So that's Craig Dolby in from, well, he was about 5th or 6th, but he was one of many cars caught up on that opening lap. Fracas down as turn 1 fed to turn 2.
So still seeing Kevin Estra pushing very hard, chasing down Nicky Katzberg as they come down into the sequence of corners, which brings us back onto the original start, finish straight through turn 12. This is the corner. Kevin Estre, who really was a star in a McLaren back in 2013 at the first race we had in Baku in Azerbaijan, and has suddenly elevated himself into the very privileged position of being one of the world stars in GT racing.
Well, he started down in about 14th or 15th place, and the fact he's challenging for 4th now shows what an incredible lap, but you can see the battle scars. Oh, very bent tail there on the Nissan 73. Craig Dolby's race, an incredibly short one, effectively over by turn 2.
Well, the two Bentleys, they were tagged. One of the Audis was tagged. Now we see the Nissan, and of course the damage to this car we're on board with. Kevin Estre again running really close in turn 4 to the back of the Lamborghini Gallardo driven by Nicky Katzberg. Estre goes the high road, but really he's got little chance. He's got to get back in behind the Lamborghinis. He comes now into turn 6 and hope he can pick up. But look,
what we need to see though is Frank Stippler has got right on the tail of Dirk Muller in that battle for second, having a look, a dummy look down to the inside, but he's just letting Muller know he's there. And then the battle behind them, very close indeed. And I think maybe Kevin Estre will be able to make a move this time, but then he'll have the full air on the front of his car. He's still in 5th place, but his lack of bodywork is really going to hurt.
Absolutely, the lack of bodywork is doing a pretty poor job in terms of the aerodynamic slipperiness of the car. On the other hand, he actually might be picking up at a downforce because it's so draggy in the corners. It might be giving him some more front end bite.
Yeah, well, he couldn't be more in the slipstream of the Lamborghini there. He's still teasing him. He's still looking at the outside the whole time. Now, which of these cars qualified better? The Lamborghini did. Does that mean it has better handling? We don't know, because it was so interrupted in qualifying this morning.
I think, in fairness, the McLaren is capable of lapping quicker in the lap. What it hasn't got is the pace where it counts, which is going to be in the faster parts of the racetrack, particularly down the main back straight, where all that aero damage to the car will be acting as like a huge windbreak. Let's have a look and see at the start again.
Well, it all is clear for the pole sitter. It looks fairly good for the yellow BMW behind. Comes car 77, all fine so far. A couple of Audis challenging. We've got through turn 1. Turn 2, though, not such a pretty story. So Winkelhock spun. You can see the front. Poor old Maxi Buch tagged and spun round. You can see the McLaren Kevin Estre riding on board though with the Bentley, and this is Buch's car.
Yeah, I mean Buch's in place. He's coming up the inside. Unfortunately, as they got into turn 2, back to this battle for 4th place, and he's now got ahead. Kevin Estre has done the business, but he's having to defend aggressively. That's probably a move that will get the attention of the stewards, because he forced the Lamborghini out to the right. Lamborghini's got through again, so he has conceded, but he's trying to come back up the inside as they go to turn 8.
Made for TV, but that certainly was a very, very robust piece of action there, and wasn't his fault on the opening lap, Kevin Estre, but I'd say that was Albert Fontana Taxis isn't sure where to look, but I guess he's...
It takes a lot for him to blow his cheeks, I can tell you.
And now, so who's in behind them? That's the question. The Fjordbach brothers are up into running in 6th place, so they've done well to come up the grid. But the battle for the lead, it's a 2.2 second between that man there, Stefan Ortelli, and still being chased by Dirk Muller, and still with Stippler in third place. But it's the battle from 4th place back that's providing all the incident at the moment.
I mean, I thought we did incident enough at the opening lap. In this corner there is one of the Bentleys being, again, I mean, there's a yellow flag situation up at that part of the racetrack. But the gap between 2nd and 3rd place, Frank Stippler dropping back a little bit. Usual story. You run continually in the under the rear wing of the car you're chasing down. You end up running at their pace. And we see the battle further back.
Well, Kevin Estre's really managed to make a break ahead of the 88 Katzberg Lamborghini. And in turn, he's holding back the Fjordbach entry, number 74. Now look, here's Maxi Buch again, having a look at the start. It all looks fine from this point of view. There'll be an Audi coming to the outside. You'll see any second now, which is Frank Stippler. Frank Stippler goes past him. Buch's over the curbs on the inside, all looking fine, and then wait for the cloud. Bang, there it comes. Hit round
by Marcus Winkelhock. Then he gets hit
by the Nissan.
It's like a game of snooker. It's pinball stuff. So back to live action again up at turn 2.
Well, the Ferrari's going very well with Norbert Siedler looking to get past Fjordbach. You'd expect it in terms of driver experience, many, many years under the belt for Norbert Siedler, but Fjordbach driving very well in that number 74.
I mean, in a sense, the beneficiary of the confusion, the chaos at turn 2 in the opening lap. Some got through because they happened to be on the clear side of the track, and that's the case right now with that particular Audi, and doing a good job in 6th place.
And not all the cars that were involved in that crash have actually stopped, because Christophe Bouchou, we saw him come in about 3 or 4 laps ago. He's made his pit stop. He's the last of the runners in 15th place, but
somebody popped one of those
little poles.
marker poles. Yes, it gets popped and it's thrown across the track. on the exit of turn 14.
And they were put there to encourage the drivers not to hit them, but that's just taking it one little shade too far. So that's the Sovereign Bank entry, that's number 333. There it is, looking to see if there's any damage. That's it out on the track, and that was teammate to Norbert Siegler. That was Marco Siegfried looking on from the pits.
Yeah, I think what happens with the front splitters in these cars, they're slightly more prominent than the bodywork, and it acts like a scythe. And if it just caught that marker post at the vulnerable part, and they are flexible rubber, it just cut through it, and that's one down and one remaining in that exit of turn 14.
Yeah, just looking there, John, to see at the end of the back straight if there was any damage. Couldn't pick any out, but here's a replay of where it went wrong. You do not drive over the curbs all the way along, and if you do, red stick.
Yep, there it goes. Now, what was that? The Ferrari. It was the Ferrari, in effect. That there was a little bit of bodywork.
There was actually.
Fall down just simply, so there's maybe a minute amount of on the right front of the Ferrari.
Well, he's still running around it. Still running in 7th place. You know what? He's just set the fastest second sector of all. So that's the battle for second place with Stippler. How's the McLaren doing? Is that closing in? Let's see. He's lapping last time 1:28.044, ahead of faster than the two cars ahead of him. So a great performance from the aerodynamically modified.
Yeah, I mean, substantially modified. The only car that's running quicker than that is the lead car of Stefano Telli. But Kevin Estra currently in 4th place, 5 seconds approximately behind 3rd place Frank Stippler. It's going to be difficult to run that down, and he's running about maybe 2/3 or to half a second a lap on average quicker than the 3rd place Stippler Audi. So there's plenty of time, but whether he can maintain that pace or whether there'll be further degradation to the already damaged bodywork on the McLaren, because...
Well, here's a question for you then, John. Is he going to be underweight when he gets to the end of the race?
So the 74 Audi
is losing a lot of ground now
because he's falling back behind the Ferrari coming through. It's going to be the switchback. No, not able to make it.
But just coming back to the McLaren, with the injured McLaren, the wounded McLaren that's running in 4th place, he's lost a lot of bodywork. How much variation are you allowed at the end of the race? Because obviously you've lost a bit of weight that should be on the car.
In this instance, I would think if there was an issue of actual weight or being marginally underweight, I think that the team could rightly say force majeure. It was not something that was deliberate. It was an incident. The cause of the incident was not necessarily our fault. So I would think that the advantage is offset by the disadvantages in terms of the straight line speed of the McLaren as a result of almost like a barn door now. You've just got the entire boot space of the McLaren exposed to the wind as they come down the main straight. On board again. Book's got
So Book has got going again. That's the 84 Bentley we're looking at, and he's having a good old tussle with Rodrigo Sparafico, who started the 0 BMW. He was put to the back of the grid, but he's gained a few places. But clearly, we've seen already the speed the 84 Bentley has. A very strong pairing with Vincent Abril. But Maxi Bouk, we've seen his ability in the last couple of years with the Mercedes, but he's really making this Bentley go. And he was so innocent in that second corner shunt.
Yes, he was. He was simply there and just got taken away by an over-ambitious move by Marcus Winkelhock. Here is where the Bentley ought to have an advantage. We know the BMW is a high downforce kind of car, whereas the Bentley might have a little bit more straight line speed. Another move down the inside, the Audi and the Ferrari. The Ferrari this time, well, again, it's side by side. Ferrari just edges it into turn 8.
I must say I'm impressed with the Fjordbacks. They're very short on racing experience, but he's mixing it with the big boys and not looking terribly out of place at all.
Main thing is they're avoiding making contact, and that sounds simple, but when you're committed and you're taking a lunge down the inside into turn 7 at the end of the main straight, it is easy for contact to arise.
And the sister car, the second ISR Racing Audi, being pushed hard by 911 with Martin Ragginger, and certainly that's going to be a good little battle, filling the mirrors of car number 70, which is obviously the yellow GT Russian team entry with Alexei Karachev. He doesn't have their experience, so they should fancy their chances.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be about just getting position. And the Mercedes is dictating the pace of these 3 cars running behind. Then this battle with Sperafico and Max Book. So they're dragging themselves up to the tail of these 3 cars directly ahead of them, which in turn effectively will slow the whole line of cars down, because as long as the lead car of these 3 is able to maintain, the Mercedes is able to hold that little bit of advantage where it counts, then that's always the issue and problem of getting into a group of cars and losing your momentum. looking to go around the long way around, but all he can try to do is drop down, get the acceleration off the corner, and again look for something down at the end of the straight, as we see. Well, again,
well, I think
really
Maxi Book does appear to be getting that little bit closer as he goes down the back straight just behind this group. You can see he's not quite close enough as they go into turn 7 to make a move on Rodrigo Sparafico, but he's getting closer and closer. But how many places around the lap would you say are serious overtaking opportunities?
End of the straight is one. There are a couple of chances around here. You've got to be a bit muscular about doing it through turns 9, 10 and down into 11. You can do it, but you've got to be absolutely alongside the car before you make the entry into the corner. And of course that then is determined to some degree by the momentum that you can carry forward. So running closely like this most often does not do very much to improve your chances. Nicky Katzberg still in 5th place.
But interestingly, the car behind, the 333 Ferrari, the green one you've just seen, fastest second sector of all. Yep. Don't forget he's been bottled up behind the Fjordback Audi for a bit. Now he's got clear air. Let's see what he can do. Gap between first and second. Ortelli extends it. 5.1 seconds clear now. The bright yellow Mercedes, that is sitting down in 9th place. So Karachev actually not doing too badly, but he's going to have a monstrous few laps over the next handful of tours.
What he's done is very good, is so far managed to resist the attention of those behind. He has not apparently, or not seen him so far, make any fundamental, what you might describe as driving errors that would allow one of these two cars to get the momentum and take the run down here, particularly coming down the back straight into turn 7. So he's doing what he's required to do. He will hand that car over to Bernd Schneider, who undoubtedly will give it an enhanced performance.
Talking of turn 7, it looks like an overtaker as Raginger goes down the outside of Fjordback. Hasn't quite got enough, but if he hangs in there, he could just get it as we go to turn 8. No, he hasn't. Fjordback, again, I am impressed.
Yeah, good job. And he managed to keep the Porsche on the outside. Porsche now almost shoveling its nose under the back of the Audi, forcing it through turns 9, 10 and into turn 11. As we go back to race leader Ortelli, 2nd place BMW Dirk Müller, 3rd place Frank Stippler, and then we're waiting for the gap between Stippler and Kevin Estre. It was the last time through, it was 4.1 seconds. He's pulled back in about the last 3 laps, the best part of a second. It's still a long gap in terms of laps. We've got the pit lane will be opening in another 9 minutes or so. So will Estre take the opportunity to come in early, check for any damage and make the driver change and hand over to Rob Bell, or will he hang it out?
There's a question. Would a French driver doing well at home like to stay on for as long as possible or not?
It really depends on the condition of the car, because also what we don't know is this having an effect with a lack of downforce in the front of the car, or maybe a lot more downforce in the front of the car on the front tyres.
Ortelli, 5.4 seconds clear, almost precisely 1 second. And there was, oh my God, right in the thick of the battle is the 911, but the back of that group, he can't be there for much longer, is Maxi Book down in 13th place. Innocent bystander in turn 2 on lap 1, and now he's just having to fight his heart out. He's in the background of that long shot you can see, and making another move, this time trying to go down the inside. It's Martin Raginger. It's not going to work, but it's delaying both of them, and this should leave the duo behind a chance to catch up. But in fact, what we really need is for Africo to be passed by Maxi Book in the Bentley, because I'm sure he's got that bit more speed.
Yes, he's got the lap time, but he hasn't got the speed where he needs it. Normally, and you'll have to say BMW's straight line performance is at the lower end of the speed range. The Bentley is always at the higher end of the speed range, but right now we're seeing the Bentley and the BMW running more or less at sort of 245, 250 kilometers per hour at the end of the straight. But what we've now got is, in effect, what was a 3-car battle at the tail of the field now about to become a 4-car battle. The Porsche again looking like it's capable of running slightly quicker than the Audi, but I have to say the Fjordback brothers are doing a great job, and they're not making any mistakes, and not, as you might expect, in pressure to be getting body contact, making errors. 3rd place Stippler closing down Dirk Müller.
Yeah, he took over 0.4 of a second out of him last time around. It looks slightly greater as Müller takes turn 7 there in the yellow 77 BMW, doing a great job for the BMW Sports Trophy Team Brazil, but Frank Stippler really fancies his chances. And in the warmer weather we've got for this qualifying race than we had this morning. This morning we had the Audis twitching everywhere, a car that really, as you said, John, very nervous, but because it's such a racing car, but it seems much more planted in this race.
I think everybody's benefiting from the temperature. Again, back to this battle with the Porsche, the Audi and the Mercedes, and slowly, the second of the Brazil BMWs and them the Bentley are closing in. But basically the warmer temperatures are making it an easier afternoon than we saw this morning, where Audis in particular were affected by cold track, cold tyre temperatures, the rear tyre in particular being the offender.
So the balance swung slightly back towards that driver's teammate. That was Maxime Martin, helmeting up, but putting his balaclava on. But Dirk Muller, his teammate in the 77 BMW, just edged slightly further clear again last time.
And Martin getting ready. There's another 6 minutes before the pit lane window opens, but he will be ready in the event that Dirk Muller does opt to make an early stop. We never know what the teams are opting to do. Maxime Martin, of course, so skilled in this form of GT3 racing, and in a BMW is going to be a real threat. And if they come in early in a clear track, and more importantly, where do they slot in when they return to track? If they can get into clear air and maximize the best of the car, the best of the tires, that could be a smart move for Maxime Martin and for the Brazil BMW team.
Be interesting to see if Frank Stippler's teammate, hoping to take over the third place Audi, James Nash, is already suited and booted and ready to go. Now finally, is this a chance for Maxi Book to pass the BMW number 0? No, because 0 was holding position. He's totally entitled to do so. So now the frustration for Maxi Book must really, really be mounting.
Well, there certainly couldn't have got any higher than it would have been at the opening lap in turn 2, where he got tagged by Marcus Winkelhock, but he's worked his way up through the field. He's got stalled out behind the Sperrifico brothers BMW, who in turn were probably, because they started at the tail of the field, they're just working their way through. Whereas the frustration you can imagine from Max Book, who is accustomed to winning, be it in the Mercedes-Benz, waiting yet for his first victory to come for Bentley, which no doubt will happen at some stage. If not later, it'll be sooner.
Yes, because the car looked very strong in time qualifying this morning, running 13th points for this qualifying race, only down to 6th place, 8-6, 4-3, 2-1.
Porsche's got clear of the Audi, so that's a pass that we didn't catch, and it's now directly behind what is
that's
the ninth place Mercedes-Benz. So Raginger is looking to make the move. Wonder where he got around the Audi. We didn't have that. Sure, we may be able to see it on a replay, but the Porsche clearly, and Raginger in particular, has got momentum and an opportunity for the flat 6 water-cooled engine from Stuttgart and the flat 6, so V8, I was getting distracted, the V8
fair enough,
from Stuttgart. Here we go, side by side, Porsche power versus Mercedes-Benz power, and it looks to me like Porsche power is all over, done and dusted pretty comfortably indeed. Porsche this time gets ahead of Mercedes, and he's been spending all these laps since the race began trying to get ahead of the Audi, and in the space of one lap gets ahead of the Audi eventually, and also the Mercedes.
I wonder how much Alexei Karachev, he's very inexperienced relative to those around him, is starting to feel the pressure there in that yellow Mercedes, nearly up to pit stop time, and I think the 70 Mercedes will be in quite soon. I think he'll be the front end of the pit stop window. Well, he would if your teammate is who he is.
Yeah, but also there's been a lot of pressure on somebody who's in relative terms inexperienced, and you hold on, and then eventually just the pressure, and also principally because it took Raginger to get ahead of the Audi to apply. Now we're getting side by side up into turn 1 and 2. Max Book and Sperrifico side by side. He's done it finally, coming out of turn 14, got the run and got ahead of the Brazil BMW.
So in half a lap, it's all changed in that 5-car battle. Already Raginger pulling clear of the Mercedes. Another mistake from Karachev there. Now he's under big pressure from 75, which is Salicada.
I suspect the Mercedes is struggling a little bit with overall grip. Max Book seized the opportunity to get past. So we're going to see this is coming out of turn 14, gets the run, gets up, and he gets into position coming up into turn 1. Very late in the brakes, so you've got to give them a dab as you turn in, but he's got the corner and he was able to hold it as the car then made the cut back to, and again, there's the battle for Mercedes just beginning to fall back.
As we sort of rather suspected he would, so another place
I suspect he's running out of, well, certainly grip.
But not a bad opening performance for 2015 for Alexei Karachev, but the might of Maxi Book in the Bentley clearly showing, and now he's chasing after 75. Philippe Salicada in one of the 2 ISR Racing Audi R8 LMS Ultras, over the curbs past the old pits, coming down to complete another lap. But the Porsche that had been in that group is just pulling clear, dropping them. He broke the toe.
Yeah, I mean, the Porsche got locked into that melee up in turn 2 at the beginning of the race. So now he's driven his way through the field, is able to use the performance the Porsche has got. He's got a 2.5 second advantage over Felipe Salaquada in 10th place in the Audi. So on board with the Bentley, and that's what you see through turns 2. So he struggled for a long time behind the Sperrifico driven BMW, now behind the Audi. That's got good straight line speed, so it's not going to be an easy pass, but it's all about getting off the corner. It's can you get your power down? Have you got the traction left in the rear tires? The Audi accelerates that a little bit sooner, that's why the gap just suddenly opens up. So it's a bit of a gap between 9th and 10th place, and there's no difference in overall power between these two cars. Totally different shapes, totally different, almost in fact they probably actually share a very similar engine, because Bentley is now owned by VW Audi, and the V8 has got a lineage through to the Audi, but the Audi's got a V10.
But that's part of the beauty of the Blancpain series, is the fact that here we have Maxi Boot fighting his way up the order, but each car he gets behind is a different make of car than the one he's had on the previous few laps. He's fought past a BMW, he's fought past a Mercedes, now he's on the tail of an Audi. His next target, of course, would be a Porsche.
He's had to fight past Audis many times when he was driving in the Mercedes-Benz, so he knows the strengths of an Audi, certainly around this circuit, and he's getting to grips with the performance of the Bentley. Now coming through turn 14, this is where he made that move quick through turn 14, but not close enough. It shows the nose, but not close enough to do anything about the Audi as it comes into turn 1.
As you would, but all the team managers would have kept the drivers informed that next time they come around, the pit stop window will be open. Now, who has been suffering in traffic and wants to come in? Who will stay out? I think Maxi Boot will stay out.
He will stay out, and the reason I think he'll stay out is because watching the Bentley, it has got more fundamental grip. Certainly through the slower part of the racetrack, through 1, 2, 3 and 4, he's able to choose his line and hold that line, whereas the Audi directly ahead of him is struggling. Salaquada, trying to get the car to turn the nose in as we go back, and this is our race leader.
Yeah, quietly
6.7 seconds.
Edging clear of Dirk Muller's BMW. His first chance to pit, but of course you wouldn't expect him to do so. So Stefan Ortelli continues for another lap. Dirk Muller, I don't expect him to come in this time around unless he's fed up of being pushed so hard by Frank Stippler. He does come in.
Well, I think the BMW, but seeing Maxime Martin getting dressed as early as we did was a bit of a clue that they might want to bring the BMW in relatively early. Again, it's about when you come in, you make your driver change, but it's getting back out, and when you go back out, are you going to go back out in the middle of traffic? That's what strategists are in these teams to sort of work out. It's not quite as sophisticated as a Grand Prix, but nonetheless you can still do your calculations, and if you have a normal pit stop, you get wheels on, off the jacks, and then back out. So we've got Bentley coming in as well behind Salaquada.
Yeah, so Salaquada and Boot coming in. We've seen the number 2 Audi come in as well, Enzo Eid coming into the pits. So who's going to be fastest? The real key is that Audi versus Bentley pit stop, and Maxi Boot could be handing over to Vincent Abril, desperate to do well at home.
Yes, and of course he's got his mentor here this weekend, Olivier Panis, who sort of manages him, guides him through his career. I think Audi had anticipated Vincent Abril being a part of the WRT team this year. He was a junior driver last year, and the Audi is on its way. Oh, that's another Audi.
No, that was the number 2 Audi that came in just ahead of them.
Yeah.
So there's the number 2 Audi rejoining from the pits. Stefan Ortelli underway from our end of the pit lane beneath our commentary box is Vincent Abril, but he hasn't got ahead. Marco Bononomi has just pulled out ahead of him. It was that tight coming in.
Good teamwork from both the Audi and the Bentley teams. No benefit, no gain one way or the other. So
now, who's coming around the track before they come back out? Now they've managed to get clear track to go out. So I think there's another car.
Abril was a little bit slow getting out of that pit lane. Many allowed.
And Bernd Schneider just coming out in their wake as well. He's taken over from Alexei Karachev in the yellow number 70. There he is, just leading that duo around.
So Kevin Estra still running in 3rd place. Of course, that's the position that the second of the BMW, the first of the BMWs have made his pit stop, so that's not really an overtake on the track. Lots of rubber on the main straight, a little bit of bodywork probably as well from the contacts that have occurred either side by side on the main straight. As we see Stefan Ortelli, merry way, 8.6 seconds ahead of second Audi WRT of Frank Stippler, who's a further 3 seconds ahead. And Kevin Estra's bit by bit, it's only been fractions of seconds every lap, and he's taken a couple tenths here, 3 tenths there, out of that second place advantage that Frank Stippler's got. Second BMW in.
Yeah, that's the 0-1, so we're losing Rodrigo Sperrefico and getting his identical twin brother Riccardo taking over. He's been in the thick of the battle. The only car that really has been out on its own is the number 3, Stefan Ortelli. It led away from pole position. The gap, as you said, 8.6 seconds, and he's going around for another lap. He's not coming in to hand over to Richelme.
And right now, because of the clear air that Stefan Ortelli has got around him, I would imagine that Audi will keep him in as long as is possible. There's no reason to come in at this stage. Just go out, stay what you're doing, and just continue to increase that gap.
Of course, the only reason to worry is if we have a safety car period during the pit stop window.
In the meantime, Maxime Martin in the BMW, having just taken over from Dirk Müller, has set fastest overall sector time in the first sector. Obviously a personal best in the second sector, but again, we thought when Maxime Martin got in, it was an early pit stop, the first of the pit stoppers. And the reason was get him back on clear air and let him work his magic and try and get that BMW up into position where it is potentially able to challenge what is yet to be the leading Audi, which is yet to make its pit stop.
Top 4 cars yet to come in. That's Stefan Ortelli in number 3, Frank Stippler in the second of the WRT Audis in 4, Kevin Estre, who've just been mentioning in the 55 McLaren, and Nicky Katzberg. But really throwing it around, Maxime Martin needs no second invitation.
No, I mean his opening lap is a 1:27.7 against Stefan Ortelli's last lap of a 28.9, or Ortelli's best lap of a 27.9.
It was the fastest lap of the race so far.
Well, that's a pretty good run on your opening lap for Maxime Martin. Bernd Schneider also in the Mercedes-Benz, fastest time of anybody in the second sector. So interesting to see what the Mercedes,
very late,
veteran, yes,
very late run into the pits for our race leader. There he goes, number 3 into the pit lane, waiting for that to be triggered. So Stefan Richelme, his Monegasque teammate, they're both Monegasque, will take over. Very strong opening stint, but it was untroubled.
Yes, I'm not quite sure why Audi brought him in at this stage. Again, other than they're looking at where do we get Raikkonen back in? So a young driver, principally from the single-seater background, into a car being handed over by one of the most experienced GT or sports car WEC drivers in the world. And again,
the Lamborghini is in as well.
An outstanding job by Stefan Ortelli.
Yeah, but maybe they're just playing safe. He was sitting on an 8 and a bit second lead. Let's not worry about any safety cars. Get the job done. Number 3 down off the jacks. Waiting.
Come on, Stefan, get it
a
on.
bit of a second.
3-4 seconds. Not quite as sharp as getting the car rolling as it needed to be. That'll work to.
Was he going to come out ahead?
Here's the BMW. Yes.
So he's gained a bit of ground. No, he's lost a bit of ground in all that because it was about 8 seconds, 6.5 seconds before he came in from second place in 77. And Maxime Martin, that just shows how hard he's gone. Plus the second lost by Richelme not getting gear.
Early pit stop for the car, fresh tyres, clear air, pressing as hard as he can. Now Raikkonen, who is a junior driver in the sense of he hasn't done an awful lot of GT racing, he will be feeling what the car is giving him. So this lap for Maxime Martin, what will be in effect when all the pit stops are cleared through, will be in second place, and he will be pushing Raikkonen all the way to the checkered flag.
Stippler goes on for another lap, so he has not pitted. So leading the race now, Frank Stippler by 3.4 seconds from Kevin Estre, who also hasn't pitted. So, but of those who have, Richelme leading, but being pushed very, very hard indeed.
Enzoid running behind. Has Van Turner Taxis got in behind the car? Or that was a little bit tight coming through turn 8.
Yeah, that should be Christoph Mies who's just taken it over from Enzo.
There's still Nicky Katzberg showing behind the wheel, but I would be surprised. You said the Lamborghini came in, so it will be Von Turner Taxis behind the wheel now.
Yeah, it takes a lap or so just to get. You have to go around the second lap before the timing screen goes. But leading the way is Frank Stippler. We've just seen James Nash in the pits waiting to take over the number 4 Audi. McLaren still battered and still going. Number 55 in second place. Kevin Estre, though, clock is ticking, so he's only got this lap or perhaps the next one before he really has to come in.
I would think that they're going to be looking to both come in on this lap. They would take a minute and 30 seconds off. That would leave, what, 20, well, just 24, but very close, put it that way. So are McLaren going to make it in? As we see, again, the lead car, Frank Stippler, second place car behind this car, the Mercedes-Benz driven by Ben Schneider. Bernd Schneider's last lap was a 28.006, which is quicker than Stippler's last lap by a second. So the Audi's in, and the McLaren just avoids clipping that white line, which marks the demarcation between the pit lane and a penalty drive-through, but I think he just about got away with that.
Well, here's a chance to just see fastest opening sector of a lap. Maxime Martin, the man you picked out at the start of the weekend, John, car 77, really flying, effectively running in second place. Will there be a change here? Frank Stippler's just got out of number 4 Audi in the pit lane, and James Nash with the blue flash on his helmet just got in to take over. Behind him is the GT Russian team car 71, but that had lost a lap effectively.
Yeah. What's going to be interesting is to see this gap here between Rakelny and Maxime Martin. You can see it's almost halved in the space of that lap. Martin's last lap was a 27.546 and Rakelny's was a 28.7, so 1.2 seconds advantage to the BMW. That's the effect of your first flying lap. But the Mercedes has got between the two as it came out of the pit lane, and that's going to be Maxime Martin cursing in his helmet.
So that should have Richelme into the lead of the race now.
Rob Bell on his way out of the pit lane, and they battered, bruised and abused McLaren. That's about $100,000 worth of bodywork that's been trashed in the space of a millisecond.
Yes, it's no longer a 650S, it's about a 640.
Probably. There he gets ahead.
Just ahead of the Ferrari.
Indeed.
Oh, that was tight, and that's Marco Seifried's taken that over after the pit stop. So, Rob Bell, it was tatty before I got it, sir, he'll tell them. And we can see that. It happened on lap 1 and the second turn. Totally innocent bystander, effectively. The track was blocked by the spinning Audi and poor Maxi Books.
Well, both Bentleys, in fact, got involved in that, and only one of them has managed to return to the field. That's Vincent Abril in that car. He's in 11th place, lapping at a 128.9. Not good enough by the standards that we would have expected from the Bentley, but it's the first race.
So, first 2 cars coming around to complete the lap. At the moment, our timing screens say James Nash is leading the race. We know he isn't though, because of course he was just making his pit stop at that time. 3 takes the lead again, top of the timesheets. That's Stéphane Richelme, but the gap 1.8 seconds back to Maxime Martin, who is really flying in the number 77 BMW.
Yeah, the lap times. That time Rakelny got the advantage. That was because one of the 2 German Russian-entered Mercedes got between the BMW and the leading Audi, and that's where Martin lost ground, and he lost ground by the of over 1.2 seconds. He was quicker on the opening lap. Stefano Telli just reporting to the team, but he also lost substantially, finding a way around that Mercedes, the second of the 2 Mercedes, and he now is having to work to get that 1.8 seconds back to what it ought to be under a second.
9-11 really having a fraught time there with Martin Rackinger, and he's fighting very hard with Marco Bononomi and Audi, and this is just how GT racing should be on an Easter weekend, John. And Audi clashing bashing right alongside with the Porsche, but up front it's Audi leading the way, the WRT team, with Stéphane Richelme having taken over after that great opening stint.
Yes, there we see the battle for the lead, and again Maxime Martin. It was 1.2 seconds when they came across the line. That's been reduced already, just over halfway around the lap. So let's wait and see what we're going to get from Rakelny as he comes across the line. Last lap at 28.2, Martin 28.7. I think it's going to be the other way around. Martin has picked up 1.2 seconds was the gap, as they 1.8, sorry, as they came 1.3, so half a second advantage to Maxime Martin.
So now, let's see this battle for the lead of the race. Looking on board, we can see what Maxime Martin can see. Not much of a lead there for Stéphane Richelme. Stéphane, single-seater racing for a long time, drifted a little bit wide there, so already he's starting to feel the pressure. He's trying to settle in. He already had a bad start. John, what's happening?
Well, we've got Rakelny trying to not make a mistake, probably maybe pushing a little bit too hard and forcing the front of the car in turn 4 to run that little bit too wide, but hasn't recovered back out of turn 5 and through turn 6. So the BMW, you can see the gap not really changing a great deal. It's going to change under braking, obviously, because the BMW is braking later, so the gap, but then the seesaw effect. But through these corners, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 and 12, that's, I think, where Maxime Martin can close down the Audi, and he's got to get really as close as he can to the Audi. He's not going to make it past in a straight line. It's going to come probably as a major lunge down the inside in any one of these corners on the return to the pits, or possibly, and it'll be very brave to do it, somewhere around turn 3 or 4.
Yeah, just looking down at turn 7 there, John, Richelme was a little bit tatty as he tried to complete the braking and turn in. Drove better through the remaining corners of the lap. He's just coming up to the final corner, turn 14. Gap last time, let's call it 1.4 seconds, as close as it doesn't look as though it's actually close a great deal. 1.2 seconds, he took just over a tenth of a second, but it will be relentless, and I do feel he'll be putting the pressure on so hard that Richelme will be the one that cracks.
Well, I mean, watching the BMW come through turn 2, clearly the BMW's got a lot of grip. He's able to pick his line. We can see him spotting those curbs on the apex better than Raikkonen can do on the Audi.
He's also using the curbs a bit more.
Well, he's got that little bit more bite all around the racetrack. Where it's all going to go sort of slightly static is here on the straight. Audi has got good straight line performance. That V10 engine from Munich has got a lot of, what do you want to call them, German horsepower. BMW's V8 has got sort of similar horsepower, but it's a fractionally a more draggy car. So its benefit will come in these twistier parts of the circuit, as Albert von Turner-Taxis is getting the attention of Rob Bell in the substantially damaged McLaren. Rob Bell looking to go high and then drop down and get on the gas and get the thrust off turn 5, then through 6 onto the main straight.
And Marco Seifried sitting in behind in the 333 Ferrari. He could yet gain if he can get onto their tail, but you do feel that Rob Bell will be starting to become that little bit frustrated. And you do wonder, another passing move, and that's not Ragginger being pushed back. That's Marcel Wagner being passed by Vincent Abril.
Yeah, so Abril has gotten through the Porsche. Another very, very aggressive defence now as the Porsche attempts to come back. We know the Porsche's got good straight.
But who's in that yellow Mercedes? It's Bernd Schneider, who's been setting purple times, and he was setting fastest lap times or sector of lap times. He'll be really, really pushing. And now Marcel Wagner in the Porsche, the least experienced by a long way of this trio.
Yeah, and Bernd Schneider will be all over him like under somebody's off.
Von Turner-Taxis.
That's Albert von Turner-Taxis.
He was fifth under big pressure from Rob Bell.
Are we going to get a safety car or not? Because they're going to have to remove that car. I don't think he'll be able to drive it out of the gravel. So will we see a safety car intervention, which will, of course, have a bearing on the outcome of this race?
Well, he was under huge pressure from Rob Bell in the McLaren. Number 55, but he's cracked. But the important thing is the pit window has passed. That was 5 minutes ago. It closed. No one's going to be caught out without pitting. Will it interrupt the lead battle, though? 1.4 seconds.
Well, we've got just under 20 minutes remaining. We've got a car off at turn 12. It's beached in the gravel as you come down the hill.
Here's Maxime Martin really, really pressing now. It was 1.4 seconds. Is he closer? I think he's edging back in again.
He needs to be careful going through that yellow flag zone not to improve on his previous times, because should he do that, that will not be looked upon friendly by the stewards.
And as we could see there, John, just in that shot as he chased after the car ahead of him, is the fact that von Turner-Taxis crashed coming past the old pits. He'd come out of turn 12, got it wrong. He's quite some way off to the left.
Mercedes, probably, we saw the Porsche pass the Mercedes before the round of pit stops. Bernd Schneider's going to put it down the inside. He's going to be late on the brakes, but he has to get off it again. I thought Schneider had that done and dusted, but good job. The Porsche maintained it. He was on the outside. He could break that little bit later and not be compromised. And he did it, and he did it successfully.
That was one of those moments where you thought your money was safe with him. Didn't happen this time around, but good.
Again, the most important thing was there was no contact. Now, again, look how close Schneider has got to the tail of the Porsche. And there's still wave yellow flags down at turn 12. The car is still in that precarious position. I just want safety car. I thought it might be deployed. And
okay, just remember these numbers. 1.2 seconds between first and second when the safety car was called. It won't be much more when they're released, but Maxime Martin will then know that he can attack from right under the tail when we have the replay. And this
was that assisted or not? I can't tell.
Did Rob Bell clip him? We can't tell, because of course the bodywork has been missing since lap 1, turn 2.
It had hints that it was an assist. Difficult to tell. So back to...
Well, we'll have to wait until after the race perhaps to find out whether there was contact between the two, because it was hidden by the old pit wall. Oh, here's another chance to look at it again. Here comes the Lamborghini any second. Now already sideways.
I think it was self-induced.
I think so too. So he took himself round. Rob Bell probably had to stand on the brakes just where he wanted to.
What we didn't see actually was there any help before it came into view? That's the thing we can't tell. And we don't have a camera to look up to that. So there could have been a little bit of assist under braking, because it would take so little to destabilise the back of a car when it's nose down, under braking, and about to enter the corner.
Well, we'll never know until after the race we can find out, because it was hidden. But the tail of that Lamborghini was coming round quite a lot. So
I mean, it is possible that maybe there's the very lightest of contact, and that's more than enough. You can see Hans Reiter; he's not happy about it. I think I think Albert von Thurn Taxis is saying, "I got hit from behind," and there's the face of the owner of the Reiter team, and a lot of frustration showing. So the car is now going to be towed clear.
And we can't see the corner that could have been hit. That's hit just around the far side.
We didn't have that view available. So it's possible there might have been slight contact.
I think he was probably hit, and we're just hearing that Albert has told Team's boss that he would say that, but I would think if he was going to spin it, he'd have started spinning a bit further towards the exit of the bend.
I think Hans Reiter's face, the frustration on his face, summed up what had occurred. We had to second guess it until we got that confirmation, and Albert von Thurn Taxis has confirmed, or through the pit lane, through the pit garage, that he was attacked. No, not attacked, that's too strong. He was tapped. Potentially. A tap at the rear. But it was at the most critical point of the entry into a corner, and just nose down, tail up, it takes very little, and all of a sudden the back's gone, and there he is sailing backwards into the gravel. So safety car has been deployed.
Safety car is deployed. Here's a little vignette for you. Bernd Schneider is down in 11th place while the safety car is running. We have just over a quarter of an hour remaining in this race. He has the potential to pick off a fair few, but he has to get up to 6th place even to get a point. And of course, finishing position, not just for points, but also starting position for tomorrow's race. So he's really, really got to see what he can do to pick it up.
I mean, it's an enormous ask from 11th to 6th to get past 5 cars, albeit they will all be in a line of cars. It really is up to the pit lane to advise their drivers as to the point the safety car will be withdrawn, and to ensure, I mean, people like Bernd Schneider have done this thousands of times, so they are on it, they are aware of what the likely scenario is going to be, but there's still a long way back, and it's about trying to get the momentum, and you are meant to run. All these cars are running at approximately 80 kilometers per hour, one behind the other, and they're required to keep some kind of continuity of distance. It's not quite a delta system. We don't have GPS plotting on any of these cars. We don't have the circuits wired to deal with all that level of technology. But everybody has been told 80 kilometers per hour, keep station, don't drop back or don't run. It's trying to bring some control into these safety car deployments.
Safety car, we're being told, is coming in this lap, and there's been fantastic racing, a bit too much drama on the opening lap, but look at the tail.
Well, there's the Mercedes just ahead of the BMW.
Just behind the Porsche there.
So he's going to have a chance, but again, it depends. Once the safety car is withdrawn, then you're just going to get on with it.
Now, this morning, it seemed the curse was on the Team WRT. 3 of their 4 cars were involved. 1 of them didn't get to start the race, but the remaining 3 are running 1st, 3rd and 4th, somehow coming back their way. So Richelme starting when the safety car goes in at the end of this lap, just ahead of the BMW of Maxime Martin. The Lamborghini has made it back to the pits, so perhaps Albert can reiterate what he's passed through the radio.
Yes, I mean, I don't know whether he wants to try and, with 13, 14 minutes of the race remaining, whether they will attempt to get the car back in again. They might wish to do that just to ensure that there isn't any ancillary damage that they haven't spotted, just with a quick cursory check around the car.
The key corner is the far side at the back to see if he's had any.
There's not a lot of
white paint
haste to check out whether this is going to be a car that will go back in or not, or whether Albert feels, well,
so Stefan Richelme will be leading away the restart. The lights are out on the Audi, and of course Richelme's wise. He's hung back, but look right under his tail, and importantly behind the BMW that's sitting behind him is a car that's a lap down, which is the number 71 with Mercedes with Alexei Vasiliev. He will provide a buffer for this too, so they can escape from James Nash. And here we go, the restart. That Mercedes is in the way. What a great exit there from Stefan Richelme. Used the curb, not too much, and Maxime Martin just cannot close him down as they go down to turn 1. This time, let's see if the field can get through. Okay, a restart, not the real start, but there, a good job done by Richelme.
Yeah, I've been watching the BMW. Maxime Martin is able to really, as I spot those apexes with more success than we're seeing Stefan Richelme do. The BMW is still showing that little bit more bite and grip in these tight corners. Now he's got to be glued under that rear wing. as they come through turn 5. Then the sweep through 6 onto the back straight, but the Audi on the gas that little bit earlier, and again uses the advantage that the Audi have got in terms of straight line performance. Maxime Martin is going to have essentially this lap. He's got to keep contact, he's got to keep the pressure on the young Monegasque driver to ensure that he's got any chance of getting onto the top step of the podium. Closes down again into the slower part of the track in 7. Watch through 8.
Yeah, no, certainly Richelme very twitchy all the time down into the end of the back straight into turn 7, but he did enough to make sure that was rebuffed for the lap. That's all he had to do. Now he can get his head down and see how much he settles. It wasn't a long safety car period. They shouldn't have lost too much tyre heat, but look how much they've been helped by Alexei Vasiliev holding back the cars in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Well, I mean, it's going to be frustrating for everybody. 3rd, 4th, 5th, what do you call him, Christophe Mies. So the Mercedes has got that little bit of squirt in the straight line. Rob Bell directly behind with a very heavily damaged McLaren. He'll be looking to seek some advantage through.
He's gained a place. In fact,
what's he doing? He's trying to pull up alongside the Audi. He's done it.
He's passed 2 on this restart lap alone. First he passed Christopher Mies. Now he's just got past James Nash. So a really strong restart lap. He's got to try and get past Alexei Vasiliev in the Mercedes, but he's done the hard work, Rob Bell, to get up to 3rd place.
Absolutely good driving. And the McLaren showing, in spite of the damage, good pace. Again, Mercedes can hold the whole field back. There's the battle for the lead. Maxime Martin taking a slightly different angle to try and get a straighter drive off turn 5. There he is. He's marginally, well, it's roughly the same, I would say, first lap after the safety car restart. Maybe fractionally closer. Not close enough to make a dive down the inside, but again, just applying pressure. Just over 10 minutes of this race remaining.
I said just during the safety car period, watch for Bernd Schneider. He picked off Marcel Wagner on that lap. He's just trying to pick off Vincent Abril. There he is, going around the outside. I think he's just about got enough to get up the inside. No, he hasn't. Turn 8. Abril drove very well there to hold the Bentley ahead of the Mercedes, but the Mercedes absolutely flying with Bernd Schneider. Oh, a big twitch there as they go through turn 9.
Yeah, I mean, that's just because he had on the throttle, caught the edge of the curb and flicked the back of the Mercedes out. But here's this battle still for the lead, under a second between 1st and 2nd.
A lot closer this time. It was 0.7 of a second. Oh gosh, the battle scars from lap 1 for the 71 Mercedes, holding up that group behind him, and Rob Bell will be desperate. Gained 2 places on the first lap of the restart. Now he's being blocked by the Mercedes. What's the gap? 1st to 2nd, identical, 0.7 of a second. James Nash attacking back in number 4 Audi to see if he can get past the tattered McLaren, but Rob Bell does enough to keep the back. Will try and get past Alexei Vasiliev, but cannot manage it down through turn 2.
Well, I think Rob Bell is going to use everything he's got in the bin to try and get alongside into turn 4. He goes down the inside.
Mies just made the move there, inside Nash into 4th place.
Good job.
The trouble is they get onto the back straight and they hope to have the speed to get past the Mercedes, the tattered 71, but they just can't manage it. So very frustrating for Rob Bell. 1st and 2nd, Stéphane Richelme and Maxime Martin pulling ever further clear now.
Well, the gap is 3/4 of a second, 1st to 2nd, but almost 6 seconds between 3rd and 4th place. And again, the Mercedes comfortably, as the Audi is being challenged by the Ferrari down into turn 7.
Schneider has got past Vincent Abril there. You can see the yellow Mercedes has now got past number 84. Bentley, that's had such a tricky race, punted off at the 2nd corner, fought back with Maxi Buch, and now demoted by number 70. That's Bernd Schneider. Mercedes through and through.
So the Sperfico twins bringing up the tail of this field as we go back to the battle. That's 3/4 of a second, wherever you look at it. Mercedes has been now overtaken. McLaren, Rob Bell has done the business, got clear, and that's going to allow him an opportunity. He's 6 or so seconds behind 3rd place. Behind 2nd place, because the McLaren now up into 3rd place.
Yeah, but he lost a fair bit of time there because
he lost a ton of time. So
another second on the leading duo. 8 and a bit minutes remaining. But Schneider continuing to attack, and certainly continuing to attack is Maxime Martin. Just under 0.7 of a second, running a little bit wide there in his chase. But as we've seen, lap after lap, when they go through turn 5, the Audi starts to put the power down, and Stéphane Richelme can lead him onto that back straight and get just far enough clear from him. 8 minutes remaining. It's going to have to be a really brave attack from Maxime Martin.
It's going to be something that out of the control of Stefan Rakelny if he was to lose this lead. And he's been under pressure since he got behind the wheel of this car some 10 or so minutes ago, of which the number of minutes have been behind a safety car. Maxime Martin has been on these tyres longer in 2nd place than the lead car Rakelny has been on his set of tyres. So that may also bring a small amount of bearing as we watch Rob Bell. What's going on down at turn 7?
No, I think that's Vlasic. That's 54.
That's the sister car.
The sister car. That needs to slide out of the way if it possibly can, because there's Bernd Schneider right under his tail, or with Marco Bononomi just in front of him in 75 Audi. Nose to tail, this is spring sunshine, Nogaro, fantastic GT racing. What a way to get going with the Blancpain GT Series.
And of course the heart of what do I call it stuff?
Armagnac?
No, well, Armagnac is one of the things. The other thing, of course, foie gras. And everybody so far is foie gras out.
I'm not. Right, 1 second between first and second, so a better lap that time around for Stefan Richelmy. So he is starting to respond to the challenge from behind. The clock is ticking down, 6 minutes 45 seconds remaining. Can Rob Bell close in the 55 McLaren? No, he lost a little bit last time around. So 1 second between first and second. If you're looking at number 4, that is James Nash down in 5th place. He was demoted a couple of laps ago by his Audi teammate Christopher Mies in number 2. But nose to tail in the final few laps of this race, this season opener for the Blancpain Series. We have the feature race tomorrow, Easter Monday, but look at this battling. Sets the hearts singing, and you can see number 4 being pushed very hard indeed. That's James Nash by Marco Siegfried in the 333 Ferrari, and Anders Fjordbach right in the thick of the battle as well. The sister car with Marco Bononomi just 1 place further behind him. Bernd Schneider in the bright yellow Mercedes in the background, also trying to pick them off. Points only to the top 6 runners. That at the moment goes down to the green Ferrari there. Marco Siegfried claiming the final point, but will the order stay like this right now? He's got the 2 ISR Audis right on his tail. The McLaren in the mix there is not the one at the front end of the race, but it's Philippe Vlasic in the Pro-Am Cup entry, number 54. There it is, and being chased very hard by Bernd Schneider. And now Vincent Abril is able to close right back in the 84 Bentley. So the order is ebbing and flowing, but Bernd Schneider continues to attack in that bright yellow Mercedes. Interestingly, the last few laps of the race, just over 5 minutes remaining, and it looked as though Maxime Martin, who was so strong, he set the fastest lap of the race on his first flying lap out of the pits. He was closing right in on Richelmy, got down to just over half a second behind him, and now it's out to 1.2 seconds, so Richelmy really responding to the challenge from 77. So it's Audi, BMW, McLaren, Audi, Ferrari. They are the top 6 runners. Riding, looking forward from the car in 10th place. That's Vincent Abril's Bentley as he chases after Bernd Schneider's bright yellow Mercedes, which is just getting past Philippe Vlasic's, or lapping Philippe Vlasic's car down the back straight. The McLaren pushed back a position, but 4 now. James Nash being pushed very hard indeed by Marco Siegfried. The green Ferrari looking left, looking right, going through the twisters around the back part of the circuit towards the old pits. And Anders Fjordbach right in behind in number 74, being chased by his teammate Marco Bononomi, who's diving up the inside. There you go. Going around the end of the old control tower, passing the old pits now. They all have to try and get past the very tattered 71 Mercedes, but it could be a moment like this where, the order changes and being pushed wide. Has he got a puncture there, or was that just going in too deep? But James Nash runs wide onto the dusty stuff. Could be a puncture. It is a puncture into the pits, so very bad luck for James Nash there. Everyone else moves up a position. So that's out of the point scoring drives. And now what we're seeing is Christopher Mies going up the inside. He's hunted down the McLaren for 3rd position, and Rob Bell wasn't able to resist him. Looked as though he had 3rd place in the bag, but perhaps that early race damage now looks like he's perhaps even cruising in. Looks so in the space of about 30 seconds we've had the car from the top 6, which is number 4, get a puncture, and then a slowing McLaren was caught and passed by Christopher Mies. So we now have the 3 Audi leading the race. No, the McLaren is still going, but that's interesting. He's dropped back a very long way. So Stefan Richelmy leading by 1.2 seconds from the 77 BMW of Maxime Martin. Rob Bell was 3rd, but now it's Christopher Mies in the 2 Audi up into 3rd position. And Marco Siegfried should be moving up to 4th. Oh, and off the track, so maybe he too has a puncture. We've seen Rob Bell slow, he's letting the others pass. The car that's just gone past him is Bernd Schneider, so he's lost about 4 or 5 places. Can't see if it's sitting low on one side, but he is cruising back to the pits. So what was a great recovery drive by Kevin Estra, and now Rob Bell looks as though they're going to go home empty-handed. And there's Vincent Abril with the onboard camera, and Bentley number 84 diving inside him around the end of the old pit lane, being followed by Riccardo Sperafico in the number 0. BMW getting right in on the act again, and I think we will see coming into the pits. No, he's going on, only 2 and a bit minutes remaining in the race, and Rob Bell is carrying on. He doesn't see any point in pitting. And the next driver to attack him will be Marcel Wagner in the 911, Porsche 911. Gap between first and second, almost identical lap times, came down very slightly. Maxime Martin 1.1 seconds down, and I think he's closing in. It's going to be nervous times down in the Team WRT pit for Stefan Ortelli, who started the race in pole position, kept out of trouble, led all the way, came in to make his pit stop, handed over Stefan Richelme, and now being caught hand over fist. Oh yes, he is nervous. Let's check those fingernails, Stefan, because his teammates and fellow Monegasque Stefan Richelme holding on in the front of the race, but Maxime Martin 1.1 seconds down last time, way less than that, half of that, 1.5 minutes until the checkered flag is coming out, so it should be one more lap and then one more beyond that for this duo. Coming down there, turn 11, turn 12, and it's way less than a second now. It's probably less than half a second. Has he left this attack too late? It looked as though Richelme had started to eke clear, but certainly the gap is down to next to nothing. 0.6, 0.7 perhaps as they start this lap. 0.684 of a second. Wow, this is the seat to be in on this lap. This is the chasing car. This is Maxime Martin, the Belgian driver. Oh, and another slip and a slide from Stefan Richelme, understeering out of turn 2. That's a 1,000-mile stare from the pit lane there from Stefan Ortelli. Can his fellow countryman and teammate Stefan Richelme hold off Maxime Martin's charge? And he's new, don't forget. Stefan Richelme is a single-seater driver through and through, and here he is in GT racing. This is the last lap of the race. I think he's done enough to stay ahead. Let's see, this is the vital corner coming down into turn 7, the end of the back straight for the final time. Maxime Martin can't get close enough to make a dive. Has Richelme done enough? Goes through the kink at turn 8. He's got the double left-handers, 9 and 10. Where can he attack? He's almost running out of positions. They go through turn 10. They've got turn 11s and 12. Just around the back of the old pits. He's not close enough to make a lunge. We have seen some contact down there before. Not that I expect Martin to get close enough to, or even to think about doing it. Down through 11, down through 12, just past where the Lamborghini spun off. Now they just have the right-hander and the left-hander to complete the lap. It's going to be next to nothing. 1-2 car lengths between them. But I think the first blood of the 2015 Blancpain GT Sprint Series will go to Audi, and Stefan Richelme and his teammate Stefan Ortelli chased so hard to the line. 0.552 of a second was the gap at the end, so delight there. A smile from Laurens Vanthoor. Didn't get to start the race in the number 1 sister car, but he's delighted on behalf of the driver in the middle there, Stefan Ortelli, the dark hair, deep set eyes and the big smile. Who's going to come home in 3rd place? It's Christopher Mies, and Marco Siegfried just makes it into 4th ahead of Bernd Schneider and Marco Bononomi. So what a charge by the yellow Mercedes and the green Ferrari. Well, what a fabulous start to the season. Half a second between that car that you see on your screens. He's actually been passed after the checkered flag by Maxime Martin, who drove such a strong race in the 77 BMW. But for Team WRT, the Belgian Audi club, entered car, what a start to the season. Of course, that was the qualifying race. The main race is tomorrow, Easter Monday. So a great deal of happiness there for the number 3 crew. They've also put down that first marker against their highly fancied teammates of Laurens Vanthoor, so strong last year, and new GT racer Robin Friens, who didn't get to start the race after damage suffered this morning when Robin Friens clounted the end of the pit wall after a turn out of the spin out of the final corner. But cruising in, job very well done. The Poly Motors sponsored number 3 Audi. They will be very pleased indeed. That wasn't a win that came easily. Yes, the safety car chopped into their lead when Stefan Ortelli was leading the way, but safety cars are a factor of racing, and you have to do what you can when you can. A huge charge from Maxime Martin after a strong start from Dirk Muller in the 77 BMW, but the combination of Ortelli and the driver who brought it home, Stefan Richelme, did just enough, and I mean just enough, to take the first victory of 2015. Conditions fair, particularly if you're in the race-leading car, but the 77 crew can feel they did a good job too. Dirk Muller And the driver who brought it home, Maxime Martin. Third place, Christopher Mies and Enzo Eid. They had a really quiet race compared to everybody else, but did just enough. They should have been chased home by the sister car of number 4, James Nash, but a puncture dropped them out of position. And there's Stefan Richelmy. Yes, I think he's enjoyed his afternoon's racing. Come on, let's pop. Want to see his helmet come off, see the big smile, because he did a few races last year, but he's still relatively fresh after his long career in single-seaters. Stefan Richelmy looking very happy indeed. Let's hear what he has to say.
Stefan, congratulations. How difficult was that towards the end? Always under pressure from Maxime Martin.
It was really good, but for sure Max applied a big pressure on me. It's my ex-teammate, so it's really good to fight together. And hopefully Steph did a really good job in the first stint. It allowed me to have some margin, but after the safety car I have really to push as much as I can. I managed a little gap, and just in the 2 last lap I was a bit struggling. I still have a lot to understand, but I'm really happy with this result.
Well, you've got a great teammate with Stefan Ortelli. He seems to be training up all you young guys to come along and be his teammate.
Yeah, he did an amazing job with Laurent 2 years ago, and now he's sharing everything with me. I'm really happy for this. And moreover, we are friends, and both from Monaco, so we'll push hard this season.
And all the better for tomorrow, starting in pole position.
I mean, I have to do my job and just increase the gap until the first pit, and we'll see.
Well done, Stefan. Congratulations.
Well, very good to hear there from Stefan Richelmy. Job well done. Wonderful, warm spring afternoon after a grey morning here at Nogaro, and the 2015 Blancpain Sprint Series is underway. What a cracker it was. And we're going to have another few interviews for you. Who should we send down there? Let's try John Watson.
Good job.
This is happy days for Brazil.
Almost happy. Tomorrow will be better.
Well, tell me, Dirk, I mean, a very good opening stint, but you came in very early. Any reason for that?
No, there was absolutely no reason. I mean, we were catching traffic, and the team did the perfect decision just to bring me in. I think I could have done two more laps, that's for sure, but that was just tactics because we were coming into traffic, and so that's why we decided. Maxime did a good job. Thanks a lot to the team.
Well, Maxime Martin coming in here. You had an enviable task. You chased the Audi all the way through, behind the safety car as well. Was that your best chance to get past the leading Audi?
Yeah, I think they were a bit stronger than us today. But at the end it was a good fight, and we finished quite close. So we'll do our best for winning tomorrow.
Now, I saw you come up and congratulate Stefan and Richelmy on a good drive. It sounds like you were impressed with what he did in the Audi.
Yeah, he was really quick and didn't do any mistakes, so it was difficult to catch him. But no, it's good. Like, looking forward for tomorrow.
So tell me, what's it like to be in a sunny BMW as opposed to a Munich BMW, a nice bright Brazilian BMW?
Yeah, that's lovely. I mean, I was having the honor to drive the art car in Le Mans, so that was the only time I was not driving a white one. But no, it's cool. I mean, I love the colors, and you know, the whole team is so friendly. They're so professional, really high level, and you know, they were welcoming Maxime and myself really nice, and pushed from the beginning. And well, so far so good. We are running really good. We were P2 in qualifying this morning, now P2. So I think we need to work a little bit tonight, and we want to catch the victory, that's for sure.
Well, you're on the front row again for tomorrow's race. That's your best chance.
Absolutely, it's the best chance. I mean, we see if you're running in clean air, we are really, really strong, and but we are pushing. So it's I'm happy to be back here. I think that was my first Blancpain race, and I really enjoyed it.
Well done. Thanks, Dirk.
Good to hear from the duo that chased so hard. That's Maxime Martin and Dirk Muller. They've now got to rush around the corner, walk up the stairs, and go to the first podium of the season. So just to reiterate, if you just come in, missed a fantastic qualifying race, Stefan Richelmy and Stefan Ortelli won for the number 3 Audi. Dirk Muller and Maxime Martin second in the 77 BMW. Then Christopher Mies and Enzo Eid, a quiet race, but they worked their way through to take the final podium position, moving up the order in the final few laps. So Audi, BMW and Audi take the first blood here at Nogaro. Going to have an interview now with Vincent Voss of Team WRT.
Team principal of WRT, Vincent Voss. A day of almost mixed emotions. A great victory today, but real disappointment for your number one car.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the incident we have this morning in qualifying make us withdraw from the weekend. And well, we had also the car number 4 who, without the safety car, could have finished on the podium, and then had a slow puncture at the end. Yeah, it's unfortunate for the team, but at the end we have 2 cars on the podium, which is already an extra job from the team.
Now, Vincent, you're bringing along all these young single-seater drivers. Is that the future of GT racing, or is it just your way of doing it?
I think it is the future of the young. Well, I think they have a great thing to do in GT racing. At the moment, GT racing is growing a lot, and I think there is a big future, a bright future for them in the GT.
But I tell you what, the old boys still get it done. Stefano Telli, I mean, great opening stint.
Well, when you see the young guys and the old guys, like see Ben Schneider and Stefano Telli, they did a great job, and it's nice to see them on track doing such a great thing.
Vincent, thank you very much. Well done.
So let's now travel up and take a look at the podium after a cracking first race. Just having a look at the drivers, they've worked their way up into the green room behind the podium, and it was Audi from BMW and Audi hope to grab the results, and here they come. So it was Raquelme and Ortelli winning in the number 3 Audis. Then Maxime Martin and Dirk Muller second in the BMW, Christopher Meade, Enzo Ide third for Audi, Marco Seidfried, Norbert Siedler worked up to 4th for Ferrari, then Bernd Schneider from the back with Alexei Karachev takes 5th for Mercedes. The ISR Audis come 6th and 7th. Vincent Abril and Maxi Buch involved in the first corner action up to 8th. And here now is the podium ceremony. Ortelli first onto the top step and Stefan Richelme right alongside him. Joined by the BMW racers, Dirk Muller there, and behind him Maxime Martin, very good chase led by them. And then Christopher Mies, there he is shaking hands, and Enzo Ide going past, congratulating his teammate there, Stefan Ortelli. There the Fjordback brothers, Anders and Thomas, going up as well onto the podium after running up into 7th place. Great job by those 2 Danish racers in the Silver Cup. So the national anthems played there for the winning duo of Stefan Ortelli and Stefan Richelme, who weathered the storm, John Watson.
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job. Principally Stefan Ortelli getting off the line cleanly and getting the advantage. And then a good stint by Stefan Raquelme, who was under more pressure in his stint than the more experienced Stefan Ortelli, and particularly from Maxime Martin, who we know is an outstanding driver in the BMW. But as Dirk Muller said, and we sort of alluded to in the broadcast, Muller came in that little bit early to get track position and get Martin out and let him use the strengths of the BMW Pirelli tyres and try and get position to eventually get into the lead in the overlap during the pit stops. Didn't quite happen, but a great battle, and the appreciation I saw down in the Parc Fermé of Martin and Raquelme. He enjoyed that battle, really a good battle between 2 young drivers. Raquelme coming from single-seaters, Martin, who has been now more GT-based for a number of years.
Yeah, it's always great to see that sort of camaraderie, because they know they're all trying to travel a similar path, but it doesn't mean you have to be offensive to each other or bear grudges, but it was really, you might have done, John, but it's kept it clear.
Yes, I mean, there was a lot of feisty driving out there. I mean, you think after a long winter off, and okay, they had a bit of testing done at Paul Ricard and some in Misano and Italy, they might have got all that sort of dirty water off their chest, but as soon as they see a car, they want to attack it. But of course, by doing so, all you do is damage your own chances, and of course, the car that you might come into contact to. And we did see that incident up in turn 1, took out Max Buch initially in the second of the Bentleys. Other cars were damaged. I mean, Marcus Winkelhock, normally bulletproof when it comes to driving, and an Audi just was the guilty party probably for this particular instance. Great drives through the field. Kevin Estre, Rob Bell and the McLaren, disappointment that they didn't get a podium. James Nash, as I was walking down to the Parc Fermé, drives in with a left rear tyre deflating. I missed all this when I was walking down.
They just waited until he left the booth, John, and did it. Good to see the Fjordback brothers finishing 7th overall. Young Danes, they win the Silver Cup class. They kept out of trouble.
The key is always keeping out of trouble. If you do so, you have got a chance of picking up good points, or in this case, in the Pro-Am Cup, getting your due rewards. And I wonder, is that a lovely bottle of Armagnac? You get a lot of gifts down. Look at the trophies. I never got a trophy like that in my life.
Time for a comeback, John.
Well, I've never stopped, have I?
Oh, of course. But so, first blood. This is Easter Sunday, Easter Monday. Bigger and even better.
Well, we're going to see it. This is the key again is going to be off the start, the rolling start into turn 1. On the pole position is going to be Raquelme and Otelli, and you've got Maxime Martin and Dirk Muller. They know their best chance of getting a victory in the main race on Sunday is to get ahead of the Audi at the earliest convenience, and that's got to be into turn 1 and turn 2. So I expect to see a fairly aggressive start from both those drivers.
Well, let's just hope it's not quite as aggressive into turn 2. That shook up the race, but it was a big shame. Marcus Winkelhock tipping Maxi Buch's Bentley round, but it led to plenty of comebacks.
Yeah, and I mean further, the Nissan, Tom Wolkenschon, Craig Dolby, they also got tagged or fairly heavily hit from behind, so we never got to see the pace of the Nissan, which would have been a strong midfield finisher.
Stefan Richelme led away from pole position. The BMW tucked in behind, but the problem was to come when they got out of turn 1 into turn 2. All looking good so far, but just wait, hold on to your hats. Suddenly, round goes Marcus Winkelhock. He hits the 84 Bentley, which is clouted by the sister Bentley, off into the gravel. The first few are pulled clear. You can see huge amount of damage to the bodywork of Kevin Estre's McLaren there, holding off, perhaps pushing off Nick Katzberg in the Lamborghini. Not to impress teammate Albert von Turnhen-Taxis, but one of the cars on the charge early on, kicking up the markers at the edge of the circuit was the 333 Ferrari.
Yeah, Martin Martin getting ready for the driver change. And then, of course, this is the battle that was going on for the lead all the way through the second part of the race. The safety car intervention, of course, brought everybody, the field together. But Bernd Schneider behind the wheel of the Mercedes SLS inevitably was making progress.
Yes, and also the 84 Bentley riding on board with that at the moment. This is Vincent Abril picking his way back up the order. We got to the round of pit stops, and there is number 3 coming in from the lead. The lead had been compressed, and Stefan Otelli handing the car over to Stefan Richelme. But it's all a question. Look at the gap there. It was about 6 and a bit seconds, but already Maxime Martin was on the charge. He'd got taken it over a lap or 2 earlier, and he really started to close in. He got far closer.
Yeah, I mean, and all through the field there we saw what we didn't realise at the time, but subsequently turned out to be a mild attack of contact. You don't get it in the NHS, you get uphill for it, but there was a little bit of contact, and round went Albert von Turnhen-Taxis.
And out came the safety car, but the key was the release after the safety car period, and Stefan Richelme absolutely nailed it through turn 14 and got Maxime Martin off his tail. And then number 2, Christophe Mies, started to pick his way up the order, delayed there by the Mercedes of Alexei Vassiliev. And look how the field of cars was bunched up behind them.
Yeah,
nose to tail.
That's the effect, in fact, of the whole safety car intervention. So up the inside, and there's the left rear puncture on James Nash. Now, where did he get that? We weren't quite certain.
It was a slow puncture by all accounts. It ruined his race. He was up to 4th, 5th position, and then that benefited the car behind the Ferrari, but Stefan Otelli had to chew his nails to the quick because he knew that Stefan Richelme had to hang on. Closing in Maxime Martin, how close could he get? Half a second was the eventual answer.